Hey Cricut Crafters, it's Shea, and today we're going to be talking about Citristrip. Citristrip. Why can't I never say it right? Whatever it's called, it's this. It's this new trend going around in the Cricut craft groups, and essentially it's etching. You're taking the drinkware, tumbler, water bottle, whatever it is, you're making a stencil decal with your Cricut, and then you're going ahead and adding this paint remover. And what it does is it gives it that etched effect, it peels the paint off and leaves a really beautiful design. So we're gonna go ahead and do that tutorial today. Now, a couple things to note. I'm in Canada, so we do not have the whole Citristrip thing, but if you are in the US, I highly recommend you do get that one. I'm gonna put it on the screen here. It works a lot better than the one that I used, and you will see why and what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna tell you exactly how to do it today and all of that fun stuff. So we're gonna jump right on into it. Now, the supplies you're gonna need for today's video, of course, the paint remover. I did suggest the one here if you're in the US, or if you're in Canada, check out this one as well. I think otherwise you might be able to grab it on Amazon. I suggest you do use gloves. Make sure you're being careful what you're using. Depending on what type of paint remover you're using, there are certain chemicals and fumes and stuff, so you just need to be careful with that type of stuff. You're also going to need some type of sponge brush, of course your vinyl for the stencil, painter's tape to protect the rest of your drinkware, and let's get into it. The first step is creating our stencil. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to hop onto Cricut Design Space and create a little design. So I wanted to do this as kind of like a test stage. I've never done this before until I made this specific video. So I went ahead and I wanted to try a larger font, I wanted to try a thinner font, and then I also wanted to try some type of cut file, whether, you know, it's a little image of something. So I went with a flower. I thought that'd be really cute. It's thin, and I wanted to see what would happen, and you'll see how it went. Definitely had some struggles, but hey, I'm gonna show you all of them and how I fixed it, how I went around it, and what happened at the end. Awesome. Now remember, you do want to leave space, that way you can cut around it. So I'm going to do like this. And you could totally add a shape behind it. Like if you want to put a shape directly on Cricut Design Space and do it that way, you could totally do that. I'm just going to do it this way, just personal preference. Awesome, and we're going to continue. So it doesn't really matter what color you're doing because you're just going to be peeling it off afterwards anyways. I'm going to use permanent adhesive vinyl and it'll peel up fine, but you choose whatever you like. If you have any sort of stencil vinyl, that will work amazingly. Otherwise, go through your stash, find a piece of vinyl that you don't care too much about, and then let's get started. So I'm gonna go in with this color. I'm just going to load my Cricut, and we're going to cut it out. We're ready. Next, you're gonna go ahead, cut and weed your design. Okay, so I didn't really think through the fact that it's super shiny, so you're probably gonna see the reflection of my face, but hello. That's okay. So remember, keeping in mind that we're wanting to keep that little bit of vinyl around it, I can weed this out properly. So when you're weeding it out, you're really going to have to essentially do the opposite of what your instinct is, because as a Cricut crafter, you're gonna be ready to weed out the background, and that is not what we want to do. So for the mama, I'm going to peel up the, let me get my weeding tool and see, because this is a little bit kind of like holographic. I'm going to be peeling up the letters and being careful to not take the middle piece out with it, like so, just really slowly. This font is thicker, so it's gonna be a little bit easier. It's so weird weeding out the opposite. Feels really weird. Ow, I poked myself. That hurts. If you've done that before, let me know in the comments because ouch. Awesome, so now we're gonna do the same, but for this one, okay, tricky. So do the opposite of what we normally do. So we're pulling out the floral. And actually, I might even put this on my wall or something. It's kind of cute. And then hopefully you can see what I mean. I guess the color that I chose isn't really the best to show you without the reflection, but I weeded out the part that is the actual decal technically. Once you're done that one, I know it's a little tricky to remind yourself not to weed out the parts that you normally do. We're gonna go ahead and transfer our decal. So take your transfer tape, whatever you like to use, and go ahead and apply it to your drinkware. So place it where you want to, make sure it's on there really good. Use your scraper, use your hands, your fingers, and make sure it's fully on there. Go ahead and transfer your stencil or decal over to your tumbler, drinkware, whatever you're doing it on, and just make sure to get out any of the little edges. Make sure it's flat all around where the stencil is going to be so that nothing seeps underneath and ruins your design. It's on there pretty good. To get out any bubbles, I'm just gonna go in like this. Then tape around the rest of the drinkware. The part that the gel might drip onto when you're having it sit there, you wanna make sure it's fully protected so that it doesn't get to the rest of the place for the exact same reason that I mentioned.
You're a rebel, getting into trouble. You are kinda like a fire, like a fire, like a fire. Unpredictable, so original. You are never backing down, backing down, backing down. That's what I like about you. So dangerous, I get this rush when I'm with you. I go all in to lose or win. Real things up to knock 'em down.
With the Citristrip stuff, I swear I'm gonna try to figure out how to say this by the end of the video. People have been suggesting to leave it on for 30 to 90 minutes. And then when you go to wipe it off, a lot of people are just suggesting using a damp paper towel and wiping it off. I was super confused at first because I kept going back and checking and looking as it was doing its like time, you know? And I was thinking, why is the paint still on there? I thought the paint would just lift off or something like magic. Well, you actually have to wipe it off. So some people are putting it directly in the sink. Other people are doing some questionable things. Be very careful depending on what you're using. Please read the instructions because certain things you cannot heat, certain chemicals you cannot heat. So please read the instructions of the specific varnish remover, paint remover that you are using. It might be different, so I don't want to give you the advice that you want to take. Just in case, double check what it says on there, the warning, all of that stuff before you go ahead and, like I've seen some people doing, using blow dryers and heat tools and things like that to try to get this stuff off because they were using chemicals. So be super, super careful. I have seen some things happen. Obviously, just, you know, do your own research. Like I said, using a damp paper towel or running it under water is great. You can use a little bit of soap if you need as well. We're gonna start with this one. I don't know, it doesn't really seem like it did much, but let's take a look. It really doesn't look any different. So for this one, it did give it like the etched glass kind of effect you can see there, but I think I need to add more. So what I'm gonna do for the other one is just go in and then add more on top of it and see if that does the trick. And of course, like I said, remember if you're using certain chemicals, make sure you can pour that down the drain. The Citristrip one is okay to put down the drain, but if you're using another one, just double check at the back and see what it says about that. Once you're done wiping it off with a paper towel, you are going to see that there are some little bits left. So what you can do is actually just scrape those little pieces off. They're going to come up because the gel was on there. Sometimes it's just a little bit tougher. Now what you'll see is because I'm in Canada, we don't have the amazing options of supplies like they do in the US. So I had to use this easy whatever blah 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 stuff. Not a fan of that stuff, okay? I left it on, I reapplied so many times. After about 5 hours, I went in and nothing happened. So when I pulled up the decal on the first one, it did give it like an etched glass kind of look, like a frosted etched look, but it didn't go all the way through the layers of paint. So I felt super frustrated, but I wanted to make this tutorial and kind of figure out how to get this to work. So I went ahead and I tried again with the other one, but I just applied it a bunch of times. So I went in and layered it. It said wait 10 minutes to do it, so I waited 10 minutes, did another layer, and I left that one overnight. It said to leave it overnight and come back. When I came back, you know what? Still wasn't done, okay? I was super frustrated at this point, so I did just go ahead and start peeling it off because I thought that underneath it would be done. It wasn't, but I didn't realize you had to kind of scrape at it. So what I did, instead of being able to wipe it away, I do think the fact that I left it on for so long played a fact into it being very hard to take off. I had to go in and kind of scrape away the paint. Now I will say it was super easy to scrape away the paint that was where the gel was. I mean, it was already kind of coming off. It was really easy to get at it. But the design did not look very clean cut lines. You can definitely tell that it was DIY. And I mean, I was able to do it, but I really think if I did have the types of materials that you have in the US, it would have come out a lot more beautifully. A lot of people are having these stunning designs like this, and it's so cute. So let me know in the comments down below. Have you tried this method, or are you thinking of trying it? Let me know. I would love to hear about it. And if you have done it, if you would want to share photos in our Facebook group, I would absolutely love to see it. If you didn't know, we have a Facebook group. It's going to be in the description box below. You can join, ask questions, share your crafty creations. We love seeing it over there, so I hope to see you over there. And that's a wrap on today's video. So as you can see, things don't always go as planned, especially in the crafty world, as I'm sure you all know, but we make do with what we have, and I was able to get it to the point that I wanted to. It just took a lot more steps and a lot more creativity to get there. If you are not subscribed yet, I would absolutely love it if you would hit that subscribe button and join our Cricut community over here. I share all things Cricut, Cricut business, tips, tutorials, and so much more. So I hope that you stick around, and I will see you all in the next one. Happy crafting. Bye.